Ahead of the highly anticipated FOMC meeting tomorrow, Bitcoin sits at $114,000. We've slowly commenced our uptrend on our way to new all-time highs. In today's video, I'll be talking about this, going over the recent Bitcoin price action, and of course, taking you through how I'm currently navigating this market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. October is trying to push green. As you can see, tomorrow we are heading into FOMC and we are currently sitting at around 0.04%. I think the month will likely close green at this point in time, but we need to consider the fact that with FOMC, there's typically a ton of volatility in the market. Now, it's a 98% chance that we get a 25 basis point rate cut, and so I don't think we should be expecting much of a surprise in terms of the Bitcoin price action. Now, let me just take you through how I've been currently navigating this. So we entered a Bitcoin long at much lower levels. Of course, this was shared in my premium group and also on the YouTube channel. You can see here that I'm kind of just sitting in these profits. We took some profits on the way up, and I'm still in my Bitcoin dominance long as well. This is of course on Bluffin, which is one of my favorite exchanges. Been talking about this one for a while, and I do execute most of my trades here. Reminder, if you want to sign up to this one, it's the second link in my description down below. They have tons of great bonuses, and in fact, you can also get a 15% trading bonus cashback. Now let's get back to the charts. So we formed those higher lows as we've been talking about on the channel. We hit that springboard at around $107,000, which previously sent us to new all-time highs. So what is happening to Bitcoin now ahead of FOMC? We pumped all the way up to this region above $116,000, which was a very, very strong level to surpass. Remember what I told you, if we break past $112,000, 116K would be imminent. And this is exactly what we got. However, I was expecting a little bit of a rejection here. It only made sense because we had a massive pump from holding this 107K level as support. You can see here that I executed accordingly. We even entered a cheeky Bitcoin short, which I shared on the channel yesterday, and I also shared in my free premium group. You can see that I secured around $4,000 in profit, around $7,000 in unrealized P&L. This is a relatively smaller position than what I'm used to, simply because I still think that we move higher out of here, but it was a strong risk to reward trade. You can see that we actually managed to time it almost perfectly. The wick brought us all the way up to around 116.4, and we entered at around $116,000. Reminder, if you want access to all of my personal trade setups, you do have that first link in the description down below. I can't stress this enough. It's my own personal trades, and that's what makes this group a little bit different. I'm not just sharing bullshit signals every single day. I'm trading the market as I normally do with my own capital, and so if it interests you, you have that first link in the description down below. So right now, we cannot ignore the fact that Bitcoin is actually trying to hold on to its bull market support band as support. We talked about this in yesterday's video. We had the break up. Now, are we going to get the confirmation that this bull market support band will hold us support and we will make our brand new all-time high with, of course, Ethereum likely to also make a brand new all-time high? You can see my Ethereum trade still holding on to it. It's looking relatively nice. I think that this will be the case. If we zoom out here, every single time, for example, that Bitcoin manages to hold its bull market support band, we get an impulsive move to the upside. And I think right now we're essentially just flirting with this level. If you don't know what the bull market support band is, it's essentially these two lines over here made up of moving averages. So every single time that we manage to hold on to it, you can see over here, we got an impulsive move to the upside. You can see over here, especially when we had a little bit of downtrend, we got a massive move to the upside. And it's the same thing across the entirety of this bull market. You can see here, we actually dropped below it, but once we reclaimed it, we had another huge move to the upside. Here as well, when we hold the bull market support band as support, it is ultimately very, very positive. What we don't want to see is for it to start acting as resistance, which was my primary concern that we were covering on the channel, but you can see right now that this actually isn't the case. We broke below the bull market support band, and right now we are just testing it. If we confirm support here, I think we move higher out of here, irrespective of what happens at FOMC. Now, we'll have to see if Jerome Powell makes any kind of significant comments, but the point is, right now, we are trying to hold this level as support. If we flip it as support, Bitcoin will likely be making a new all-time high, in my honest opinion. And of course, I am betting big on Ethereum here, with my Ethereum position currently sitting around $60,000 in profits. I know everyone was extremely scared when Bitcoin had this massive wick down. But remember what we discussed. Have a little bit of patience, wait for us to fill the wick, and we will likely move higher out of here, creating these higher lows. This is exactly what is happening right in front of your eyes. And so, in my opinion, Bitcoin can go as low as to these levels, for example, 110, and still bounce out of here because we would technically be testing the bull market support band. You know what else is interesting about $110,000? We have that CME gap, which we discussed on the channel. Now, we typically do fill these CME gaps, but it's important to not be deterministic and say that we must fill it, because right now, looking at the timeline, I think a lot of people got caught off guard with this move as Bitcoin continued to create higher lows. A lot of people weren't convinced and they thought that we would be moving lower. However, we confirmed this uptrend. And so what I'm trying to get at here is don't simply wait for us to fill the CME gap if you are looking to enter a Bitcoin position. The reason I say that is because there is a chance that we move higher before we go ahead and fill that CME gap. You have to understand that the market owes you absolutely nothing. And if you're in any of my groups or you've been watching my videos, you know that the way that I like to swing long in this market is to gradually add to my positions. That's why when Bitcoin was around these levels, I gradually added to my position. When Ethereum was at $3,798, I started to gradually add to my position. I actually originally entered right around $3,850, and right now you can see that ETH is well over $4,100. So the thing is, if you have confidence in a move, it's okay to start adding to your position ever so slightly. That's why when I enter my position initially, I always leave a little bit of room so I can continue to add more. There was so much time to enter this kind of position. If I zoom out, for example, on the Ethereum chart, let's go to the 1-day time frame, you can see that I entered right around here, but we wicked below my entry several times, people getting nervous. But again, the same thing is forming on Ethereum, higher low after higher low after higher low. And as we know, Bitcoin leads the way. So if Bitcoin starts to make its next move after confirming at its current bull market support band, then I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum starts absolutely ripping. I have remained bullish when most people were bearish, and I'm telling you right now, you cannot expect the market to always give you what you want in terms of entries. So if you're interested in entering a position, first and foremost, holding this bull market support band as support would be a very good sign. Of course, we will have volatility with FOMC, and I'm not writing off the move of us going a little bit lower before we bounce higher, but ultimately, for the bulls here, we want to see the bull market support band continue to hold the support. Testing there is perfectly fine. And the reason why Ethereum also looks stronger than Bitcoin, as I've been advocating for, is because we continue to hold above its own bull market support band, as you can see here. Bitcoin broke below, but we ended up holding here for Ethereum. Very positive to see, in my opinion. Now, taking a look at the liquidation heat map, you can tell that a lot of people missed out on this move because we're seeing more and more people starting to repile into shorts since we saw this downtrend from $116,000. And so there is a lot of liquidity to be grabbed to the upside. I'm expecting us to grab this liquidity even if we end up going a little bit lower first. Now, I also want to talk about this map, the 30-day time frame for the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. You can see that there's still more shorts in the market. You need to always understand this dynamic because this helps us navigate it accordingly. On the 1-day time frame, you can also see that more shorts started to pile in. That being said, on the 7-day time frame, the longs are dominant over the shorts. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I am not writing off a move down to the bottom level of that bull market support band. However, you need to remain adaptive and you need to let the market come to you. If we get, for example, the confirmation above this bull market support band, then I wouldn't be expecting lower levels for Bitcoin. A lot of people are starting to doubt that the bear market has begun and they're trying to get entries here, but maybe Bitcoin won't give them the entry that they want. That's why I remain vocally bullish around these levels, and I hope that with my analysis, you were at least able to make some profits or your positions are in some significant gains at this point in time. Of course, nothing that I share on the channel is financial advice. I'm just sharing with you how I am personally navigating this market in terms of my spot portfolio, in terms of my trading. However, I hope that the content has been helpful because I still think we have that one last leg to this bull market cycle, despite what many have been saying. Now, what else? You can see that President Trump did say that he will be announcing a new Federal Reserve chair by the end of the year to replace Jerome Powell. This we already knew because this is Jerome Powell's last year. And we also have the fact that Amazon will be firing 30,000 employees starting tomorrow. The reason I wanted to add this to the content today is because this is showing you that automation is in full effect. And so in my opinion, as an entrepreneur, it's very, very important that you start to find ways to make money outside of your regular job. And of course, you know what I'm about to promote here. I have my free trading group. If that interests you, it's the first link in my description down below. You DM me the word premium and I would be happy to onboard you. Shameless shill there, but ultimately I do think that automation is coming, and this is likely going to start impacting a lot of people in their day-to-day jobs. I'm telling you right now, trading crypto has absolutely changed my life over the past few years. It didn't come super quick. I had some significant losses when I first started my journey, and now I am more profitable than ever. And so I just thought I'd share that with you because honestly, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I still think that it is. Now, back to the Bitcoin chart before we wrap up this quick video. You can see that we continue to try to hold the bull market support band as support. I honestly think that we will see some wicks down. However, I still think we also move higher out of here. Obviously, we're making educated guesses here, but this is starting to look really solid, holding above the anchored VWAP and above the bull market support band. Remember, wicks down are perfectly fine. And again, we could continue to form higher lows right around these levels. And that sums up today's very quick video. All our trades are looking very, very nice in some profits, whether that's long or shorts, it simply doesn't matter. And most of my stops are now at break even, so I can just let the market do its thing. But to be perfectly clear, I am net long in this market. I still think that we end up moving higher out of here, even if we get a couple of retests lower. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.